Kengan vs Baki is a real thing now and still controversial to many. However, Wakatsuki Takeshi is the definition of built different and just got stronger in Kengan Omega, and while not appearing in the official crossover film, he was more than worthy, should have been the one to face Hanayama, and truly breaks into the top tiers of the Baki world, while also being one of the most important characters when discussing the power scaling between these two series. So subscribe here on Mysterious Weeb for more Baki and Kengan content and listen closely. Did you know when he clashed with Julius during Kengan Ashura, they shook the entire stadium, and when attacking Faye in Kengan Omega, the entire volcano shook from the Wild Tiger's power? And people will still say Kengan characters are weak or simply realistic? Wakatsuki pretty much was born as a mutant, wielding a muscle fiber density 52 times of the average person, described as the Superman syndrome, that literally gives him power easily exceeding human limits. On top of that, we have already seen what a simple 2 times can provide to other characters. Bro was simply gifted with a next level build and flexes this aspect on everyone with an equal height and weight, being 193 centimeters tall and weighing in at 193 kilograms. Absolutely wild. Bro is indeed dense. Everyone knows about Kure Ryan and how he's a built different genetic outlier due to selective breeding and various other aspects within the Kure clan, and the other defensive specialists like Sorpang and Segabahashi, who are able to acquire insane durability thanks to their training. But even these monsters can't compare to Wakatsuki, who gained his power through mutation, and while young was already a superhuman. Someone with such pride, he will not lose in a contest of physical strength, and literally required the main villain for early Kengan Omega to end himself for the sake of acquiring a draw against this beast. A transcendent character with next level fans who for some reason as well lost and saw Tokita Oma die in Kengan Ashura, but decided to spend the next 2 years with that knowledge in mind training anti-Nico style tactics. Then throughout Kengan Omega, Oma is revealed to actually be alive, and the next person Wakatsuki faces in the series is once again another Nico style user, meaning bro predicted everything, and while other characters like to flex their pre-initiative, it's clear that the Wild Tiger has transcended many times above that. He is also not a simple brute like many characters similar to him in writing. He had top tier karate and even dedicated large amounts of time to grappling, 2 aspects that get greatly enhanced by his unmatched raw strength, and even durability, which could be the definitive rank 1 aspect for him. But let's have a look at current Kengan Omega and Wakatsuki's next evolution. Right in time, as we were just told that the final battle with the Connector, pretty much a Yujiro level threat for the Kengan verse, will be on a certain island where a certain tournament took place in the past. Yes, that's right, the new Annihilation tournament may be upon us right now. Something I'll be fully breaking down in my next video, so if you haven't already, make sure to have your notifications on for the Mysterious Weeb YouTube channel. But now let's look at what Wakatsuki has recently done to get much stronger. So we were previously told that he set forth on his training adventure in a certain forest, pretty much the birthplace of the Nico style, which is kinda crazy considering Wakatsuki's most recent 2 fights in the series. But we see him destroying all of these trees, likely with punches, with the likes of Metsudo pulling up and bringing a quick little opponent for Wakatsuki to face, the 4th Fang of Metsudo and personal bodyguard Omori, someone who has the lore of actually winning an entire Kengan Annihilation tournament in the past before the Kengan Ashura events, and apparently it was with no difficulty as well. A true monster, and someone based on recent events with 2 other Fangs of Metsudo and other characters getting destroyed by Shenmue Long, has gone through his own training as well, with this technically being the first time we've seen him have an on-screen fight in over 500 chapters of Kangen, which is absolutely wild. Alongside this bodyguard, who I believe was cut from the Kangen Ashura anime, but was actually somewhat important to Tokita Oma during Kangen Ashura making an appearance again, which was pretty cool. With us getting retold all the superhuman aspects about the wild tiger, how the Superman syndrome only has a few cases confirmed in history, and even among them Wakatsuki is an extreme outlier, wielding muscle fiber density or muscles over 50 times denser than average, meaning his muscular strength and striking power are several times of most heavyweights, even at a low ball, only being equaled by the likes of Julius and of course Toa, who Kangen characters seemingly always forget about, but it is what it is. With their fight beginning as Mori actually takes the advantage, where we learn about his fighting style, which is actually pretty cool. He calls it the Fang style, and this is due to him mastering a total of 9 classical Japanese martial arts, 5 Chinese martial arts, and 7 other modern martial arts as well, proceeding to compile the techniques he's mastered into his own martial art, the Fang style, somewhat similar to the Monkey Boy, but different in its own right. He doesn't apparently just cherry pick random techniques. He's mastered certain ones and compiled it for what he needs in this style, a true weapon in human form, which is pretty sick all things considered. Also using the 1-inch punch here, which is the basis of Kano Gito's Dragon Shot, one of the most overpowered techniques in the entire series. However, this is where Wakatsuki reveals the results of his training, being able to absolutely dominate this Fang, and also confirm himself that the current state of Wakatsuki is the strongest he's ever been. Which brings us to a discussion of his ultimate technique, Blast Core, something he created during Kangen Ashura for the sake of taking out Kano Gito. As if you guys don't remember, in the past prior to the Kangen Ashura story, Wakatsuki was defeated by Hatsumi Sen, and more importantly Kano Gito, which resulted in a lifelong ankle injury, and was the main goal of Wakatsuki throughout the Kangen Ashura Annihilation Tournament, creating this technique which pretty much involves all the muscles throughout his body being compressed and then unleashed in the form of a strike or some type of attack. One of the most powerful, just outright raw power displays in the entire series. But due to the ankle injury suffered by Kano Gito and the strain on the body the Blast Core actually causes, he's actually sealed it now, going down a different path inspired by Julius and his muscle fiber control, evolving or adjusting the Blast Core where it's not just his whole body compressing at one instance for an attack, it's certain parts, for example just his arm, to still have similar properties to the Blast Core, but not requiring as much build up and not wielding as much raw power. So using the Blast Core on one arm for the sake of a jab still wields superhuman insane power due to Wakatsuki being built different, with his normal strikes already being confirmed in Kangen Ashura as pretty much knockout strikes for the average person or average Kangen fighter in that regard, with the likes of Oma already confirming that Wakatsuki's blows are much heavier than Ryan's at a base level without even the Blast Core. Now he's able to spam a faster strike in the form of a jab with Blast Core properties as well, in which he calls the Phantom Fist Mirage, something that in Wakatsuki's arsenal is extremely overpowered, as honestly speaking the Blast Core in its own right, while insanely strong, was quite an easy attack to counter, But now Wakatsuki, using his Superman syndrome and build different nature to enhance his regular strikes with speed as well, is insanely strong and pretty much makes Wakatsuki ready for the next stage of the Kengan story, the battle against the Connector, where it's possible he could be one of the most important fighters if multiple are actually facing him. But more on that in the next video here on Mysterious Weeb. If you haven't already, check out this playlist with all the other Kengan videos, and of course, shout out to these members, these absolute mad lads.